William Morrow and HarperAudio present All the Queen's Men, a novel by S.J. Bennett, performed by Jane Copland. This book was written before the death of Prince Philip, on April 9, 2021, at the age of 99. It is dedicated to him with affection and respect for a life well lived, and with not a little nervousness. Would he have laughed and chucked it across the room with an exasperated grin? I hope he would. Part 1. Sang-froid. I will show your illustrious lordship what a woman can do. Artemisia Gentileschi, 1593 to circa 1654. October 2016. Sir Simon Holcroft was not a swimmer. As a trainee pilot in the Royal Navy about 1,000 years ago, the Queen's private secretary had endured being dunked in the water on various training exercises. He could, if necessary, escape from a sinking helicopter in the Atlantic Ocean, but ploughing up and down an indoor pool held no allure for him. However, as he approached the grand old age of 54, his trouser waistline was 2 inches larger than it should be, and the palace GP was making noises about cholesterol levels. Something needed to give, and it wasn't just the button above his fly. Sir Simon felt tired. He felt flabby. On yesterday's long, uncomfortable car journey back from Scotland, he had come to the conclusion that here was a man who had eaten too much Dundee cake and not offered to accompany the Queen on enough cross-country walks. His first thought on arriving back at his cottage in Kensington Palace was that he needed to jolt himself out of this slump. Those last few weeks in Balmoral had been bloody. It was as if the midges had been staging a Highland Games of their own. He had been busy most mornings with Prince Philip, discussing the details of the impending resurfacing programme, and then up most nights on the phone, conferring with fellow courtiers about the Duke's latest suggestions and questions, as well as adding several of his own. If they hadn't done all their homework by the time they presented it to Parliament, the proverbial order would hit the fan like a fireworks display. Vigour was what he needed, and freshness. Despite his lack of enthusiasm, the Buckingham Palace swimming pool seemed like the best solution. Staff tended to avoid it when the royals were in residence. The problem was, when the family were away, he tended to be so too, and vice versa. However, catching sight of himself in an ill-advised full-length mirror in the bedroom at KP that night, he made the decision to take a risk and nip in early. He prayed that with his midge-bitten body stretching the seams of his Vilebrequin trunks, he wouldn't encounter a super-keen young equerry in peak physical condition, or worse, the Duke himself, fresh from a royal dip. Sir Simon walked across Hyde Park and down through Green Park, one of the few 40-minute commutes you could make through central London that was entirely green, in time to arrive at the palace by 6:30 a.m. He had stupidly put his trunks on under his trousers, which made both uncomfortable. He parked his briefcase on his office desk, hung his suit jacket on a wooden hanger on a hat stand, and took off his brogues. Neatly rolling his silk tie, which today featured tiny pink koalas, he placed it safely in the left shoe. Then, shouldering the backpack containing his swimming towel, he walked the short distance to the northwest pavilion in his socks. By now, it was 6:45. The pavilion, attached to the north wing that overlooked Green Park, had originally been designed as a conservatory by John Nash. Sir Simon always thought they should have kept it that way. His mother was a plantswoman, and he saw conservatories as paeans to the natural world, whereas heated swimming pools were a little bit naff. Nevertheless, the Queen's father had decided to convert.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?